where did we go? Just when the rain scared. Down in the hollow people, where I'm looking, laughing and the running, hey, jumping and the jumping, and a little bit still on forward. I said, don't believe you, my brown girl. You my brown girl. Tell me whatever happened that Tuesday is so slow. Oh, and down the old man with the crown the radio. Standing in the sunlight laughing, hot behind the rainbow's wall. Jumping down and sliding, all along the waterfall with you, my brown girl. You my girl. Do you remember when we used to sing? Just like that. I'm on my own. Like just the other day, my how you have grown. Yes, my memory back that look. Sometimes I'm overcome thinking about making love in the green west. Behind the steady on with you, a brown-eyed girl. You're my brown-eyed girl. Do you remember when we used to sing? No, 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 no,
Well, I had to stop it and start all over again. I forgot to put the sound on the first time, and I'm just here just talking. You know what? I'm glad it worked out that way because it was going a little bit too good. But all right, well, welcome to Chat with Madam Whip-Ass. And the subject of this live stream is Laci Peterson. Some of you might know who she is, and for those of you who may have clue, Laci Peterson was a 27-year-old woman back in 2002. Lived in Modesto, California, and at the age of 27 in 2002, she was married and 8 months pregnant. I think she had been married at the time for about a good 5 years. And you say about 7 years prior, she had met a handsome man. I'll say he was handsome. She certainly thought so because she married him. So I'll say that he was handsome. His name is Scott Peterson. He came from a pretty well-to-do, wealthy family, I suppose. Am I buffering? And let's see what else. They met, I think they both were in college, and they dated for 2 years before they got married. The reason why this story is so, I don't want to use that word endearing. I don't think that's the right word. But the reason why I feel so connected to this story is because I feel a great connection to Laci Peterson for some reason. I don't know what it is, but she seems so familiar to me. She seems like somebody I knew, somebody I know. And I don't know if it was her personality or that smile she had. And although she was born and raised and grew up and was maybe 8 years younger than myself at the time, she grew up in Modesto, California, on the other side of the country. But she just seems like somebody I would have gone to school with, met in school, and we would have been the best of friends for like forever. She just seems like somebody I know, and I don't know why. But this whole case, it just grabbed me. And so I'd like to present to you the story and have this video, whatever you want to call it, as a tribute to Laci, because people need to be informed. And I'll just put a pin in that. But anyway, so she meets Scott Peterson. In 2 years, they're married. I think another 5 years went by before she became pregnant. Now we're going to fast forward to Christmas Eve. Make sure you can hear me. Let me make sure you can hear me. So we're going to fast forward to Christmas Eve. Yep, you can hear me. And about 5:30 p.m., Laci's mother gets a phone call from Scott. Laci's mother, her name is Sharon Rocha. And at 5:30, Scott calls her and says, "Hey, Laci over there?" And her mom says, "No." And he says, "Laci's missing." And from that moment on, it began a nightmare for Laci's family and friends. He goes on to tell her that, he saw her earlier in the morning before he left to go to his job, and she said she was going to walk the dog. Mind you, Laci's 8 months pregnant. So Sharon is telling her husband, who is Laci's stepfather, Laci's biological father is still alive at the time, but Sharon's frantic. I mean, this is her baby girl who's 8 months pregnant, and her husband just calls and says she's missing. Everybody get to the park. We got to search for Laci. She's missing. And she's running around frantic. And so they call the cops. They run to the park, family and friends, and they searching. They lifting up lids of garbage cans and looking inside of garbage cans. They looking for Laci. The cops, the detectives show up to the house. Laci and Scott, they own their own home, and it wasn't too soon after communicating and conversing with Scott Peterson that the detectives became a little suspicious. They asked him what did he do that day, and he said he woke up. Laci said she was going to walk the dog, and then she was going to go to a store to pick up something, some food for Christmas breakfast, which would be the next day. And he said he went and sent an email. Yeah, it was a warehouse. He went to his job. I think he was a fertilizer salesman, and goes to the job, and he says, and I got a boat, so I decided to take the boat out on the bay. Meanwhile, he had told Laci's stepfather that he went golfing that day. Anyway, nobody knew Scott had a boat, and he took it out on the San Francisco Bay, which was about 90 miles away. I guess at some point when you go on the bay, you got to get how you park here. So then you get a little ticket that's time stamped. So that was his proof to show the detectives he was actually at the bay, although they went to the bay and nobody ever recalled seeing him there. But he has a time stamp there. So I don't know why this story from a town in California, Modesto, grew legs quickly. And I think by the second or the third day that Laci was missing, it got national coverage. CNN, Fox, MSNBC, everybody converged onto the town of Modesto. And they are searching for Laci. She's 8 months pregnant. Is she in labor in the bushes, or did she fall out or whatever? But anyways, meanwhile, the detectives are interviewing Scott, and he says, yeah, so I came back home at about 5:30, and I took off my clothes, threw them in the washing machine, took a shower, went in the refrigerator, ate a slice of pizza, and Laci wasn't home. So I picked up the phone and I called her mom and I said, hey, Laci over there? And her mom said, no. And I said, Laci's missing. That's odd. Who does that? Who comes home and your spouse is not home and you automatically assume that they're missing? So that was red flag number one for the detectives. Anyway, days go on. Now it's a week later and it's New Year's Eve. They held a vigil for Laci at the park. And the park literally was right down the street from where Scott and Laci lived. So they hold a vigil. It's New Year's Eve. It's friends, family, and damn near the entire community, and people from the surrounding communities. It had to be at least 500 people in this park at a New Year's Eve vigil looking for Laci. You see, all these people are just hugging each other. You see this person there sitting in front of a bunch of candles, just very solemn, pensive. But when you look at Scott, this nigga here is sitting here yucking it up like something so damn funny. He's grinning. Nobody is grinning at this vigil. Here's Laci's biological dad and her brother. Somebody else standing behind them. Tears, frowns, praying. And this fool here finds something very funny at the vigil of his missing wife. So fast forward a few days after this vigil, the detectives get a phone call from a woman who lives in Fresno. Now, Fresno is not like a neighboring town. That might be like an hour away or so. And so the detectives fly to Fresno and sit down with this young lady here. Where is she? I have to find her. Where are you, chick? Where is she? They sit down with this woman. That's a more recent picture of her. But there she goes with Gloria Allred, Amber Fry. And she called them because she had been dating this fool since early November. Yep, she'd been dating this fool right here since early November, Scott Peterson. And she goes on to say that he told her that that he wasn't married. But wait, I'm rushing ahead. Get this. Like a mutual friend introduced them on a blind date. They meet for the first time. They go out to dinner and they screw. She's only known this man for a few hours. Not only that, this chick had like a old daughter. So day one, they meet on a blind date and screw. Day two, she got this fool picking up her daughter from daycare. This damn psychopath. You don't know this man from a can of paint. Not only do you screw him on the first day, but then you allow him to pick up your baby from daycare, unsupervised. You give the daycare permission to allow Scott Peterson to come pick up your daughter. You don't know him. So she tells the detectives all of this, and she said the main reason she called them, because, mind you, all the buzz was in Modesto. Fresno is a while away, so the news really, she really didn't find out about Scott Peterson until early January, which is, matter of fact, you could say within 2 weeks of Laci gone missing. And I think the common friend had put her on and said, hey, this Scott Peterson, they brought her the Modesto Bee, which is like a community newspaper for that town, and said, look, he's married and his wife is missing. And so that prompted her to call the police. Them that when they first met, you asked the question, so you married or you ever been married? He said no, he had never been married. At some point, a couple of weeks later, he did come to her and he sits down and he says to her, I have something to tell you. I was married and I lost my wife first holidays without her. And he starts bawling his eyes out. He starts bawling his eyes out to her on the couch. And because he's so broken up about it, she feels like, it would be intrusive at that particular point in time for her to ask more questions like, what happened? Now, if somebody came, sat down, you were seeing, they tell you, I lost my husband. I lost my wife. What are you going to think? That they died? Well, did they die in an accident? Did they have cancer? These are all the questions I'm sure she had, but he was so broken up and crying on her shoulder that she didn't feel it was the appropriate time to get more details. Isn't that something? And so she tells the detectives that they were in this whirlwind romance. And she pulls out pictures like this one. and shows them, look, you know, we went to a Christmas party, which was early in December, and we took this picture together, and this picture, and this picture. You know, we were having a good time, and it just got serious real fast, and we took this picture and this picture. And so at that point, the detectives had a strong lead. And while they're sitting there talking to her, Scott calls her. So she starts freaking out. They tell her, answer the phone. She has a brief conversation with him. And from that moment on, they got a voice recorder, whatever, and they started taping all her phone calls with him. So she taped every phone call with him from January until March. Now, let's go to the vigil on New Year's Eve, right? I'm telling you all of this for a reason. We see friends, family sad at the vigil. What's so fucking funny with Scott? I don't know, but I want to punch him in his damn face right here. He calls Amber on New Year's Eve. And like I said, at the vigil had to be like 500 people. So there's a lot of chattering going on. You don't know anybody, you can mistake it as a New Year's Eve party. And so he's like, Amber, can you hear me? I'm in France. I'm standing at the Eiffel Tower and there's fireworks and everything going off. The crowd is so large. It's unreal. Hi, Scott. Are you having a good time? Meanwhile, she already knows the deal. This conversation is being recorded. And he's like, yeah, me and my friend, I met our friend Pascual. He's from Spain, and we're having a good time. And we walk down the cobblestone streets. And I mean, he's going into this elaborate lie about him being in France at the damn Eiffel Tower when he's really in Modesto at a park down the street from his house at his missing wife's vigil. Sociopath. Psychopath. Meanwhile, I'm watching news conferences with Laci's mom. This lady right here, Sharon Rocha. That's not the best picture. This woman, her heart, I don't know how this woman is still walking on this earth today, 15 years later. You could see, and I tried to get some press conference clips of her, but you could see that this was killing her. It was killing her. It was such grand torment. And this fool knew all the time what happened to Laci, and he would not tell nobody. And there was a point where she called him. It was when, okay, so I got to back up. So the detectives kept Amber under wraps, but maybe about a week later or a few days later, somehow the Christmas picture got to the National Enquirer, and the detectives got word that they were going to print the story the next day. So they race over to Sharon Rocha to tell her, because they don't want her family and friends to find out, you know, at the check cashing lane, you know, with the, you know, those little tabloid papers. So they show her the picture, her and the stepfather, and she breaks down. Now, prior to this, when they first started suspecting Scott, in Laci's disappearance. There was a press conference where Sharon and her family and friends, they stood flat-footed, arm locked in arm, united together. Absolutely impossible that Scott had anything to do with Laci's disappearance. He is our son-in-law, our son, and we love him and we support him. Scott could never be responsible for a certain thing, for such a thing. This is Laci's mother, father, stepfather, brother, friends, believing in this fool 100%. Psychopath, sociopath. So can you imagine how this woman felt when the detectives had to lay down a picture? Had to lay down a picture of Scott and Amber. You talk about devastation. After that, and rightfully so, they no longer supported Scott. I don't know how your wife is missing. She hasn't been found. But you know what you do? You sell a car. Somebody's missing. They haven't been found. You sell their car as if you know they're not coming back. Sociopath. So now everybody is suspicious of this fool. Everybody. And it's like, according to the media, he is under a microscope, like he lives in a petri dish. Nobody would let up. Look, that's Laci and her mom. Familiar spirit, friend in my head. And so the search never ends with Laci, the 8-month pregnant wife who went missing Christmas Eve. And somewhere around Good Friday, you figure, like the day before Good Friday or so, there was a major storm out there, rainstorm and windstorm, and had the currents whipping, you know. And on Good Friday, if I'm not mistaken, somebody walking along the bay, they find a baby. A baby boy that was, his body was intact. And then the next day, another body washes up. And it's basically a torso. It's a female body. There was no head. There was no arms. One foot was missing and part of the lower leg of the other extremity. Media, doctors, everybody, they converge. Medical examiners, and they determined that the little boy, whose body was intact, was indeed Connor, and the female torso indeed belonged to Laci Peterson. She sat in the bay for about 4 months. What he did, he killed her somewhere, probably on the bed. This is the theory. Probably strangled her or suffocated her. His 8-month pregnant wife suffocated her, wrapped her in tarp. There was fencing around the house, so it was very private and secluded. He put her in the back of the pickup truck, drove to his warehouse, transferred the body onto the boat, and hitched it on to the back of the pickup truck. Days before, there was evidence that he had made 5 cement anchors, 5 of them. 4 were gone. They saw the remnants, and that's how they knew that 5 were made, but only 1 was there by the time the detectives searched. He takes her out to the bay. He puts a cement block around her neck, or both of her arms, or her head, or whatever, and throws her body overboard, where she was weighed down in the water for 4 months, from Christmas Eve until Good Friday. And you say to yourself, well, how did the baby wash up intact? But she was so decomposed, and she had marine activity, meaning she was fish food, but not the baby. Well, Laci loved that baby so much that she protected that baby until the end, and had coffin birth, where her body decomposed and the baby just came and floated out of her stomach. And God sending the storm and whipping up the sea made all of that happen and delivered that baby on shore, and then set Laci free and delivered her body on shore. That's how strong this woman's spirit is. That's how strong. Maybe that's what's so damn familiar to me. That this wicked sociopath, psychopath, narcissistic demon did this to her. And she held on to that baby until she can deliver it back to the earth, untouched by marine life, body intact. Her spirit was so strong that even in death, she held on to God's unchanging hand, that her and her baby would be discovered. It took 4 months, but her spirit didn't give up. She still held on to the Lord. I got it now. That is why she is so familiar to me. No matter what the devil does to you, you stand flat-footed and you stand strong. So at that point, now they got a body, they go trying to look for Scott. And I started to get to another point, in between of them looking for Laci, 2 months have gone by, and after Sharon, discovered the relationship between Scott and Amber Fry, she was furious with him. You know, it was at that point where she was like, okay, you did something with my daughter. And she calls him and she's like, Scott, please tell me where my daughter is. I don't care what happens to you. You can go on and live the rest of your life. Just bring my daughter. Tell me where my daughter is. I need to bring her home. I miss her, Scott. Tell me where she is. And he's like, I miss Laci too, Mom. Yeah. This woman is frantic, pleading with him. Oh my God, bring her home. Tell me where she is. Go where you want to go. Live your life. I don't give a damn. Let me go and get my daughter and my grandson. If I knew where she was, I would tell you. I would tell you, Mom. Don't you call me Mom. I'm not your mother. Mom, I just don't know what to say. I want Laci home too. Sociopath. They don't give a damn what agony they have put you through or they are putting you through, as long as they get what they want. Narcissistic, sociopath, psychopath. It doesn't matter that this woman is near death from not knowing where her baby is. Doesn't matter to him. No. As long as he gets away with what he wants. Why did he kill his 8-month-old pregnant wife? I guess he didn't want to be a father. I guess he didn't want the baby. I guess he felt, and you know, you know what? Nobody knows. Nobody saw this coming. This woman loved him like a son. Everybody adored the two of them as a couple. He was adored as a couple. They were adored as a couple. Nobody saw this coming. This is what is so damn devastating. This woman marries this man, your husband. You sleep in the same bed together. And while you're sleeping, he's laying awake. He's lying awake, plotting ways to kill you. He's plotting your death while you're sound asleep, sleeping comfortably next to your husband. Sociopath, psychopath, narcissistic. Well, end of the story is Scott trying to get away. Let me see if I can find a picture of him. Okay, so this is when he was arrested. He had a beard and a goatee. Let's say they caught him on a Friday, and this was like his first court appearance that Monday. So I guess they let him shave. But when he was initially caught, he had a beard and a goatee. He had dyed his hair. He had $15,000 in cash. So he had his brother's license. There he goes. That's what he looked like when he was apprehended. He had his brother's driver's license. He had rope and all type of gear and stuff. Like if he needed to survive in the ocean, he can. If he needed to survive up in the mountains, he could do that too. He had all types of gear for stuff like that. He was definitely, it seemed like, heading for Mexico. Mm. And so, yeah, he got the death penalty. So pretty. Beautiful bride. So, yeah, he got the death penalty. But this really ain't about Scott. This is more about Laci. Of her. I want to continue to inform and educate you about narcissistic personality disorder, sociopaths, psychopaths. I have never heard the term narcissism until this Laci Peterson case. And I mean, I was glued to this case. It almost became an obsession with me. I watched every bit of it. And I was like 3 months, 4 months, even 6 months into watching, press conferences and getting all the updates and stuff like that. And I kept hearing this term narcissism, narcissistic. I said, what is that? And that began my research for 10 years straight, intensely, of narcissistic sociopaths, psychopaths. Because all narcissists are not sociopaths, but all sociopaths, psychopaths are narcissistic. And I guess another reason why this case gripped me was because I realized that I had been in a relationship with a sociopath. Not at that particular time of this case. It began to put the pieces of the puzzle together for me. When I began studying narcissistic sociopaths, narcissism, malignant narcissistic personality disorder, it just blew my mind with every research session I indulged in. And so we all need to be informed about these particular personalities. I'm just going to take a break right here. And I just want to see what's going on in the chat room. I thought, let me see. Let me see. Okay, I'm just going to the chat room. Just going to take a break. Hi, Soraya. Soraya says, I remember that case and the other Peterson case. Two damn idiots. Lack of emotion and excessive emotion equals red flag. It goes back to narcissism. It annoyed me how they made the trial about her dumbass. Oh, you mean Amber. Casey says, I remember this sad Kill your wife and child. Head was missing. Only cervix intact. It was like her body protected his body. 4 months, shaking my head. Harley, I was so young when that story hit. That was terrible what he did to her. I know, right? It was inside of her, right? Evil, sick dude. Ginger. T, I know my husband didn't believe me when I said Head was missing. Had that storm not happened, he might have gotten away with it. God bless her. I think they should release murderers to the victims' families and let them exact justice on them. Yes. Maybe I'm wrong, but shit like this, yes, Soraya, shit like this angers her. Surprised he didn't get the death penalty. He did. They just didn't kill him yet. He's in San Quentin prison, death row. Shit, it would be a long time from now before they execute him. He seemed like he wanted to sleep around. In 2017, he's still blaming everyone but himself. Oh, yeah, sociopath. He has like 2 mistresses while being married to her. I'm sure, you know what? Let me pop the chat out. Okay. I'm sure he showed some signs, but when you're genuine and in love, sometimes you overlook them. Yeah. Yeah. Most sociopaths and narcissists are extremely sarcastic, for example. He tried to go to Mexico with blonde hair. Stupid motherfucker, Soraya says. Like people can't see his features. Harley Quinn says, that's scary that somebody who's supposed to love you would murk you. It just shows you that we can't truly know what someone is capable of. Fact, Harley. Most sociopaths can function. They are charming. She was indeed a beautiful woman, right, KCK? Sociopaths are usually very intelligent, but they do give clues, yes, all the time. Major red flags. And it will only go over your head, excuse me, if you just have no concept of who and what a sociopath or a narcissist is, or a narcissistic sociopath. I bet there's some thirsty ass women standing for him too, writing letters and shit. I'm sure. There's always a few of them out there. But isn't that something? But this is how charming he was with Amber. I mean, they meet. I forgot where they meet, at a restaurant or whatever. They have dinner. I think he had a hotel room. And he brings her up to the room, but he does something. Oh, I just can't remember exactly. But he doesn't act like, he wants to score with her. He's playing like it's not even on his mind. But she says she wanted to wait for him outside the hotel room door or something, but some kind of way when she stepped in, there was like rose petals all over the hotel room. And and next thing you know, they bumping uglies, and I just don't know how you do that. I don't know how you know somebody for 5 hours and then the next day she allows him to pick up her kid from daycare. You don't know this man from a can of paint. Why are you entrusting your child with him? But apparently that's how charming and endearing he was. You know what? Bear with me for a second. I need to get some water. Yeah, the reason why I played the song Brown Eyed Girl is because that was, I believe, Laci's all-time favorite song, Brown Eyed Girl. So that's why that is the musical selection for this hangout. um, Harley Quinn says, I get it. He's attractive, but he killed his pregnant wife for God's sake. As a woman, that should be a turnoff. Yes. But for crazy bitches, that's a complete turn on. Don't try to understand crazy, you know? Anyway, narcissistic personality disorder, narcissistic sociopaths, psychopaths. You wonder how this happened, how something so ugly happened to such a beautiful woman. You wonder, how does that happen? You know, how come nobody saw this coming? How come? How do you fall in love with such an individual? I'm looking for one particular Scott picture that I had up here, and I can't find it. It's that real devious, wicked one that I had earlier, where he's deep in thought, and you look in his eyes and you see he has no soul. It's that picture. But you try pictures of Scott Peterson at trial. I gotta find that picture. It needs to be sitting up here. More images. I need to see that one picture. You have to understand that sociopaths are nothing but, there it goes. There it goes. Sociopaths are nothing but empty shells. They're monsters. They're fucking monsters. They have no emotion. It's almost like they're not even human. They just act like they are. And they have a way. Yeah, that one, right, Savoya? No soul. The eyes are the windows to the soul. No soul. You can see it. It's blank. But they pretend to be human. They mimic emotions. Like they can mimic being sad. They can mimic crying, but they don't have that chip to actually feel it. Hibristophilics. I didn't know there was a name for them, and those are people who are attracted to criminals. Thank you, Harley Quinn. And so, a narcissistic sociopath. They approach you with a mask on. They're representative. It's not who they really are. And when you take, if I may use Amber and Scott, when she met him, he presented himself as this great guy, marriage material. You know, they spent a few hours in the restaurant sitting at a dinner table talking, and it's like they believed the same things, they shared the same ideals, the same morals, they shared the same values. Sociopaths are like chameleons. Whoever they get around, they change themselves into that individual. They have this acute sense, this sharp sense in knowing what type of person you'd be looking for, and they turn into a chameleon, and they turn themselves into what they know what type of person you would be looking for, and they become that person. And everything is good. It's a whirlwind romance. You know, y'all spend damn it every minute, free minute that you have, he's spending with you. Love bombing you. What is love bombing? When people just shower you with love, attentive. They're telling you how much they love you. They're doing lovable things all the time. You just feel so loved. And in turn, you love them. And everything is good. You are in the perfect relationship. It's just completely perfect. This is your soulmate. You have found him. You don't have eyes for another man at all. Side note, guys, I promise I will do a hangout about the narcissistic, sociopathic bitch. I promise, just for you men, so you know how to spot one of them crazy bitches too. But you men, your fucking problems is that you have two heads, and you keep thinking with the head that does not have any brains. And as crazy as the majority of the men y'all are, the crazy the bitch, the more you want to screw her. But now I'm going off on a tangent. It ain't about you niggas today. Anyway. And so this is your soulmate. Y'all have been together 8 months, every day, never had one argument. Or if you did have a disagreement, you know, it was nothing. You always ended up laughing. So it really wasn't an argument, you know? And so then one day, y'all decided to stay home and, I don't know, turn on Netflix, you know, pop some popcorn. You just sitting there watching a Netflix movie. You know, neither one of you say nothing because you're both watching the movie. All of a sudden, he turns his head and looks at you and says, you know, this relationship just isn't working out right. And with that, he stands up and walks away. And you like, excuse me, what did you say? Because you couldn't possibly have heard what he just said. You know, you was watching the movie. Surely he said something else. He said, I said, I'm tired of this relationship. It's not working out right. He starts making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And you sitting there like somebody hit you with a ton of fucking bricks. What? What do you mean the relationship isn't working out right? We get along so good, we don't even argue. it's not working out, okay? He finished his peanut butter and jelly sandwich and he just walks upstairs. Or hell, maybe just walks out the house and leaves and goes someplace. And you standing there like, oh my God, what's wrong? He comes back. Well, what's wrong? I don't know. It's just not working out right. I already told you. I had to tell you 5 times in a row. Damn. And it's like, he's never gotten snappy or spoke to me like this. Oh my God. And you go and you cry your eyes out. And then next thing you know, you're spending the rest of the marriage or the relationship trying to fix it. You want to get that man back that you met and you fell in love with. And it's all your fault. There's something wrong with you. So you're trying to fix yourself. You're trying to fix the situation, the present situation between you. You're trying to fix the relationship. How to fix the relationship, the more mean he becomes. And what you're really doing in essence is chasing a fucking ghost, because the man you're trying to get back never really existed. That was a mask. This me motherfucker you with, that's the real nigga you stuck with. He ain't never coming back. Do you know how much energy this sociopath, this narcissistic sociopath had been exhausting for all this time, presenting to you somebody who he's really not? He ain't coming back. He ain't doing that shit no more. Now it's time for him to suck you of his narcissistic supply, which is you. He's enjoying you trying to get back to that guy who never existed and who ain't coming back. He's not expending any more energy. He's trying to suck it all out of you. This is what happens. And when it happens to you, if you don't know this shit that I'm kicking to you, you will end up emotionally, physically, mentally, and a lot of times financially devastated. If you are unaware of narcissistic sociopaths, you can very well end up with a nervous breakdown in a mental hospital. There are plenty, I've met plenty of women in a mental hospital because of their narcissistic sociopathic husband that they've been married to for years and drove them stark, raving mad. Kill you. They have a lot of techniques that they use. And this might be a series of hangouts talking about this, because it's a series of bullshit that these narcissistic sociopaths got going on with them. And as I said before, narcissists, narcissistic sociopaths, they are the tornadoes of the human race. When you think of a tornado, you will see a community, there's stores, there's neighborhoods, you know, streets, pretty tree-lined streets with houses and cars parked on the driveway and kids jumping rope in the street, you know, and just beautiful neighborhoods. And a tornado comes through it. In the aftermath, you can't even make out your house anymore. It's just piles of wood. There's no more grass. It's all mud. Cars are sitting upside down on top of piles of wood. that was once a house. Trees are now twigs sticking up out the ground. That's how a narcissistic sociopath will leave your life, in complete devastation, just like that. Most main tactics that a narcissistic sociopath uses is called gaslighting. And at this point in time, I'm going to stop the screen sharing. I just want you to listen to this very important video. It is 12 minutes long, but I tell you, listen and listen good. And you know what, Soraya? Girl, I can stop this video and give examples. But sociopath Beasley. Should I do that? I just might. Here, take a listen.
Hey YouTube. I want to start off by giving thanks to those who have subscribed and liked my videos and find that they are informative or helpful. Just want to give recognition to that. So thank you. This video is about gaslighting and the powerful effects that it has on the victims that have been with toxic people, specifically narcissists, which is one of their favorite weapons. They love this weapon. And the reason why they like this particular weapon is because it is it's the catalyst to really taking control over you. This weapon breaks down your sanity. It also breaks down your will to fight and resist. When you're with a narcissist, at least, and they're with you, they use this tactic very strategically to slowly start to get you to doubting, questioning, and wondering about your own sanity.
Okay. Beasley has tried that with me. When he says that I'm fake, when he says I don't know who I am, that's gaslighting. He wants me, like this young man said, to question my sanity. Gaslighting. And I'm going to pause and I'm going to point out everything about this sociopath.
A lot of it has to deal with just them being denying when they know the truth. I made a video about battling a narcissist logically and why it doesn't work. It really doesn't. And the effects of battling them logically, you will slowly see yourself begin to weaken mentally. A lot of you get to the point where it's like, I just don't want to fight. I don't want to fight no more. And you just want peace. And the narcissist is relentless at not letting you have peace, because gaslighting is designed to crumble your senses to the point where you can't make the right judgment, and you're always confused and you're always second guessing, and you don't have the mental strength anymore to stick to what you know to be right. The narcissist loves this weapon because It is the enabler that keeps them concealed and locked in with you. This is what allows them to fly under the radar and, hang on to their narcissistic supply. Basically, a lot of it, for instance, they can be something like they'll say, you called me someone else's name. You're like, I didn't call you by no name. Yes, you did. They'll try that initial one just to see how you respond to it, how you react. If you don't say you're cat shit crazy and I'm out of here, they're thinking, okay. I brought that one to them. They didn't leave. Still stayed. I apologize. I told them I was sorry, but they're still around. These are cues to them. If you stay, these are cues to just how deep, how far they can go into your mind to take control of it. If you allow any of that to pass, they know I'm going to get their mind. And they will slowly start to do it on a regular basis. And this is the main thing about gaslighting, is where the narcissist conceals their true emotions, actions, and feelings. They're gonna be able to your mental breakdown by always being indifferent, by always, or more often than not, agreements with you. They don't want you to figure them out. They don't want to think on the same page and be on the same level as you. At least they don't want to let you see that on the surface. But another secret that you may not know, let you be away from your narcissist and be able to observe them. A lot of what you do and how you are, they're doing the same thing when they're around other people. They're talking like you. They're acting like you. They're stealing your identity.
Beasley, that stinky but sociopath, does exactly that. I've seen it countless times. When I start doing my Jamaican accent, you'll hear him on his show trying to do a Jamaican accent or some Caribbean, start talking Caribbean. There's plenty of things that I have done on one of my hangouts, and I can't remember them all, but I heard him do the same thing. Or like, for instance, here's one. I might be saying something, and you hear me go, eh. I've heard Beasley do the same thing countless times. He got that shit from me. There's so many other things that it just escapes me, but that's just one thing that I can pull right now, or two things. What this guy is saying is true. Beasley really admires me and wants to be me.
And then when they get around you, they're so indifferent.
Let me go back.
To figure them out. They don't want to think on the same page and be on the same level as you. At least they don't want to let you see that on the surface. But another secret that you may not know, let you be away from your narcissist and be able to observe them. A lot of what you do and how you are, they're doing the same thing when they're around other people. They're talking like you. They're acting like you. They're stealing your identity. And then when they get around you, they're so indifferent. In disagreements. They're always, I don't see it like that. Or they may agree sometimes, but the majority of the times they want to be in disagreements. But when they're not around you, they're using all of your knowledge and logic and the way you reason and the way you talk to people. They're using that on other people.
Here's another example. When Tommy bailed Cliff out, I think that was around the time Beasley and I initiated phone contact. We were talking about that situation. And he was trying to process the whole thing and wrap his mind around the entire event. And he was saying, Tommy did that, just to make himself look good. And Tommy did that, because he really wanted to help Cliff out. And Tommy did that. He did that to embarrass Tyrone. And I'm saying, yes, it was all of that. It was multifaceted. I just recently heard him on a show discussing the same thing. And here he comes. It was multifaceted. He copies me. He bites off of me. I'm continuing.
The dangers of it is when they really admire and praise you, when they deal with you, they're talking down on you.
Mm-hmm.
That's confusing. Because to you, it's like, why are you always saying shit and this and that? And, well, because you're wrong, and they'll go through all of these little instances and bullshit ass, excuses about why. But the thing deep down inside, here's the sickness about these individuals. Deep down inside, they really admire and like a lot of the qualities that make you strong.
Exactly.
That make you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
But they will refuse to allow you to reign supreme or higher than them. So they have to break you down. They have to start making you feel like you're going crazy. They have to make you have clouded judgment to where you're not too sure about, I don't know where I stand with them. You never really know where you stand with a narcissist, and you never can feel comfortable. That's why I say you have to go off what you feel, because you won't feel comfortable, but you'll allow your mind to be like, oh, it's kind of okay. I guess I'm all right. I can handle it. But you don't even feel comfortable. You don't even feel happy. And this is because they've broken down so much of your mental strength that allows you to fight. Because every time you make a stance, they make so much of a big deal and act out. And this is all on purpose. Them acting out, that's a strategy. They act out on purpose just to wear you down. It's not just sometimes their narcissistic rage. No, they will act out. That's part of the strategy. So that you will say, I'm not going to even bring it up like that no more. If you're going to act like that, I'm not, geez. And so you start, in your mind, start to try to tame the way you come at them down. When if they've done something that deserves to be addressed in that manner, you should be, comfortable enough to address them in that manner. But they will act out. They will throw an all-out fit on purpose, just so you will internalize it logically and say, wow, big deal. And look how they acted.
I have to pause there. I talked about this, and it's in another old video. But the first time Beasley and I fell out, or he fell out with me, nobody knew about. And what happened is exactly what this man is talking about. That narcissistic rage, that sociopathic rage. I told you that on Facebook, you know where it goes, people you may know. And I had told you that I grew up with Beasley's family members. I just didn't know who they were. And in terms of, you know, at the time, I didn't know exactly who Beasley's family members were until it came up, people who you might know. And it came up on Facebook, and one of these people who I might know actually came up on my sister's Facebook page because she called me. It was Peter Dudiak. We knew from all facts that Beasley's name was Ted Dudiak. And Dudiak is not a common name, as you know. And there's a picture of Peter Dudiak. And when you click and you see the friends you share, you know, that's how I discovered who Beasley's family members were and how well I really know them. And so I'm excited. I don't know. I grew up, you know, hey, if you know relatives or someone you just met, I mean, you'd be like, hey, I know your cousin very well or whatever. So I called him and I was like, hey, on Facebook, I know your cousins very well, such and such, such and such and such and such. Beasley instantly flew into a fucking rage. He started yelling and screaming and cussing me out at the top of his fucking lungs, accusing me of researching him and this and that and the other. Went on for a few minutes, raging, screaming, cussing. It sounded like the beast was foaming at the fucking mouth. And then he finally hung up on me. And I'm standing there scratching my head like, what the fuck happened? That was such an odd reaction from somebody. Because somebody calls you and tells you, hey, I know your cousin. But I guess out here in these YouTube streets, that's a big freaking no-no. I didn't know. I would have never thought he would react that way in a fucking rage. But at this point, I didn't realize he was a narcissistic sociopath. But that's a red fucking flag I should have picked up on. Raging for the most mundane reason. I mean, raging. I can't express to you enough how this man went from 0 to 100 in terms of anger, yelling, and screaming, sounding like fire was spurting out of the top of his head and he was foaming at the fucking mouth. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm going to go back a little bit and let this brother speak about it again.
Way you come at them down when if they've done something that deserves to be addressed in that manner, you should be, you know, comfortable enough to address them.
I'll go back a little bit more.
Manner. It's them acting out. That's a and this is because they've broken down so much of your mental strength that allows you to fight. Because every time you make a stance, they make so much of a big deal and act out. And this is all on purpose. Them acting out, that's a strategy. They act out on purpose just to wear you down. It's not just sometimes their narcissistic rage. No, they will act out. That's part of the strategy. So that you will say, I'm not gonna even bring it up like that no more. If you're gonna act like that, geez. And so you start, in your mind, start to try to tame the way you come at them down. When if they've done something that deserves to be addressed in that manner, you should be, comfortable enough to address them in that manner. But they will act out. They will throw an all-out fit.
That's what he did. He threw a fucking fit. On
purpose. Just so you will internalize it logically and say, wow, that wasn't even a big deal. And look how they acted. That's a strategy. That's one of the methods of them controlling, because they know if I act out this way all the time, eventually wear down, and they won't bother talking about it again. I bet you that, if I act this way. It's another control tactic. Narcissists know exactly how to act appropriate if they want to. But since they're about control and tricking, they're not. They're going to tell you the opposite when they know it's not that. Just to be indifferent. Just to be indifferent. You may say you know how to do one thing, bake a cake or whatever, and they're going to come up with, well, no, you don't do it that way. Well, yeah, it is done this way. No, it's not. And then they want to get into the argument of constantly arguing a point that they don't even know. But they know that this wears down the mind of the victim. And the victim becomes to get weak mentally. And the victim they start to just give in without a fight. And that's what the narcissists want. They don't want you to put up a fight. They want you to submit and give in without questioning. You question or even say why, they throw a fit, they go into rage. And this is all simulated. This is fake rage. They're not really that upset. It's fake rage. It's designed to terrify you and control and induce a certain type of behavior out of the victim. Because once the victim starts behaving in the way that the narcissist finds pleasing, that is controllable, they have properly secured their narcissistic supply. And now you're basically a robot that has to tiptoe around and do everything the narcissist says. And out of fear of them raging or them going into are you fearing their vindictiveness? They control you. They make threats and they act wild and outrageous and unpredictable to psych your mind out. A lot of times they're not going to do half of the shit that they say they're going to do, but it's to psych your mind out so that you're in question. What will they really do? They acted up so badly. Will they really do that? And that's what they want. They want you to question, to be in doubt. They don't want you secure and confident in your decision and your judgment with them. They want you to question. They want you to have to be like, is it really? Should I really do that? That's how they want you. Gaslighting does that.
We're going on to part 2.
We're Rhett and Link, and we wanted to show you how we created our amazing new website with...
Back up on gaslighting. This is part 2. Again, gaslighting is designed to break down the mental will and the strength of the victim's mind. It's designed to create such confusion and uncertainty that you become easily suggestible to the narcissist. The lying, the deliberate lying to confuse you, the deliberate being indifferent and going against you when they probably, for example, they may actually agree with something with you. You might say, hey, that's a nice car or something. I like that car. I really like it. That's not all that. It's got, look at it. It's just this and, but inside, they like the car too. They actually like the car just as you do, but they're not gonna agree with you. So they want you to think they're different. They have a different way of thinking. They're not on the same page as you, but they actually like the car as well. Now you don't really know the real intent behind the person you're dealing with. You don't really know the real state of mind of the person you're dealing with, because they're giving you a false persona, a fake person. The person that they send out to you, its objective is to seek and secure. Initially, and like I said, gaslighting is a slow process. Once they are able to see the effects of how far it's played on your mind, then they change. Because gaslighting, once it has affected someone so strongly, it breaks down their inner will to fight. This is where the narcissist can exercise complete control over his victim and pretty much continue the abuse and do what he wants. And this is where the narcissist starts to get pleasure out of that. It's fun. Look what I did. I took a person that was strong, vibrant, outgoing, and look, I brought him down to something petty and meek.
Now, ain't that what Beasley's trying to do? Come on, you hear him. I don't care if nobody else cares, as long as you're listening. He's trying to, like he has all this power when he's really Johnny come lately and just a stupid, stinking asshole.
And they get off on that because that's their work. They did that. And look, now I can tell them whatever I want to tell them.
Mm-hmm. Not this strong black woman over here who tried it, didn't succeed, and your stinking ass ain't gonna succeed either. Ha! Let's continue.
And some of you be like, I'm gone, I'm out of here. And I'll be like, she'll be back. She'll be back. Don't worry. And they'll brag to their friends, family. Yeah, she leaves all the time, but she's just, oh, poor girl. She'll be back though. And while you're hurting and out looking for answers and looking for like, what the hell do I do with this situation? I just want things right. and the narcissist act a complete just asshole to you before you left. And then I wanted to come back home now. And then they call you, and then they have this sad story. And babe, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have acted like that. I was wrong for that. And I didn't want to make you feel that way. And me doing that isn't being considered. And you're taking this as, okay, they're making amends, because when you leave, you're just looking, you want some sort of peace. You want acknowledgement of that peace. They know that. This is the thing that the narcissist knows, and why they play the game so well. They know the answers that you want to hear. Exactly how to behave. And that behavior that they're behaving that is reckless and unruly, that is a deliberate, premeditated behavior designed to create fear, anxiety, and uncertainty in you. It's not just a narcissistic rage. If you insult them, yeah, they'll get mad, but they're petty on anything. And a lot of their rage and a lot of their acting like or throwing hints that they'll do something really crazy to you, and a lot of their deliberately doing something off is to show you, hey, I'll go there, I'll cross the boundary. You just don't know what I'll do. And then once you get to the point of being that unsure about them, you're locked in. And
I ain't locked into shit.
then I digress, at least, to go back to what I said about you, the person leaving. Once the narcissist acts in rage, you come back off of their sweet talking. They're perfectly normal the whole evening. They're the sweetest individual could have possibly been. And this is to play with you again, even more, playing with your psyche, flat out disrespecting your psyche. But passively saying, see how sweet and nice I can be? You see, if you act right, I can be sweet, I can be nice, I can be the perfect gentleman or lady that you can possibly deal with. Then they take it away. And they give you a taste of it and they take it away. And this is to keep you in that yo-yo effect. It's to keep you chasing a high. Then they play further mind games, the gaslighting, and telling you things that, you know, they know isn't true, but they're trying to force the argument of it to be true. And they know it's not true. This is the sickness of this. Mm-hmm. They know it's not true.
I.e., Madam Whip Ass is fake.
But they will fight and stand on it and go through a long, drawn-out argument over something they know to not be true in the first place. I just would like for those of you who have been through this to really, really take into consideration the effects of this. Because after you're out of that relationship with a narcissist, if you haven't healed, those gaslighting effects are still there with you. Now you don't trust the next person. Now you're so afraid internally that anything that next person does, you're thinking, is this more of the same? You're not comfortable now because you don't trust your own judgment. You don't trust your own logic. You don't trust your heart even. It can be that severe. Where you start to become afraid of intimacy. Because in a sense, now they have turned you into them. You've been bitten and you have the sickness of that disorder. Now you don't want intimacy or to get close either. Now you're insecure. Now you just can't feel the connection when you meet somebody new now. You don't have the motivation. You don't have the drive. I would encourage, if you can, 1-2 sessions, just something to get something started, to get some counseling. Gaslighting is a very evil, wicked thing to be unleashed on someone. It's a weapon. It's a weapon. It's a very dangerous weapon to the mind. It's not only, it goes past just making you question your sanity. Sometimes it actually makes those who've dealt with them have partial insanity. So just understand that coming out of that, from being with a narcissist, they have changed and altered a lot of what you think and perceive. You have changed from being with the narcissist. Trust me, you've changed. It's about how you let it change you, though. You can let it change you positively or negatively. And I just wanted to share that because a lot of you are still confused and wondering what's going on. And this is because your sense of judgment has been diminished and depleted. And you have to talk to people. You have to talk. Let it out. Don't hold it in. Even if it's embarrassing, let it out. Get it off your chest. Don't hold that embarrassment and shame in, because that will keep you locked in that state that they created and put you in, and you won't get out. Talk about it. Again, if any of you want to get further information on this and more in-depth detail of the effects of gaslighting and what it does, the after effects of it, and how detrimental it can be, and how it can affect your career, your relationship life, and just your everyday, daily, normal life. I'll leave my email, and if you have any further questions or whatnot, just send me an email and we can try to figure this thing out and get maybe some helpful insight or answers that can help you. Thank you.
Wow. Let me see. I want y'all to read the comments under this video, but I don't want to give away the video. I can't do it that way. So I'll just read them. Finally, someone explains perfectly what I have dealt with. Thank you for the compassionate understanding you offer. Some of us have been through some serious gaslighting on top of many other complex issues for varying amounts of time. It's a deep pit to crawl out of. They keep you, chasing the high. Wow, this is so sad but true. It's a total mind fuck. Exactly. Those two words sum it up. Mind fuck. It's an emotional rape or an emotional violation. My ex-girlfriend turned out to be a psychopath. I don't even want to admit to people that she was my ex-girlfriend, because in all actuality, she was a con artist. Nothing about my relationship with her was real. In my mind, it was real. but I now realize that I was manipulated from day one. She was one of the most evilest persons that I have ever met in my life, and I even worked in a prison for 20 years. I'm not saying these accusations because I'm a bitter ex-boyfriend, even though she conned, lied, and stole money from me. I'm saying this because I experienced some type of weird supernatural evil from this woman. Oh, yeah. I believe you, Crystal. If she is even a woman, it's so hard to explain. All I can say is that there was just something really off about her, that my intuition sensed some kind of evil. If that makes any sense to you, even imagine having a family member like this. Wow, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've listened to a dozen or so of your videos, all outstanding. Oh, I can't wait to listen to more. I can't wait to share it with you, Soroya. This is a deep individual. If I liked something, he automatically hated it. If I cooked something or made something, I would ask him if he liked it, and the answer would always be, "It's all right," as he shrugged his shoulders. If I was in a good mood, he always ruined it. These people are just gross. I cannot wait to get divorced. My ex did the same. He would say, "Oh, I could have made it better. Nothing was ever good enough." The things aren't human. Exactly. Yes, they are disgusted when you're happy because they're never happy. Yep. Lies and gaslighting. It's no wonder victims feel like they're going insane to the point where they don't trust themselves anymore. My ex fucked up my mind so much I tried to kill myself. Their evil knows no bounds. No sane person could ever do this. Tina Kelly, sorry. I'm glad you didn't. Create your own reality. Wow. Oh my God, thank you. It was my suspicion that I was being groomed to become just like him. I am praying that God can heal my heart so I can be in a normal and healthy relationship. God bless you. This is so well spoken. Exactly what I felt but could not vocalize. Oh my God, you're so right on with the sweetest, with the sweet talking, sad voice and story, and their deliberate, petty, premeditated attempt to create anxiety in you. And the same thing over and over and over and over again. I spoke on this many times. It's such an inhumane and it's such an inhuman, highly passive, aggressive, abusive behavior that only shows you what type of sadistic person you're dealing with. Man, I've been researching on this occasionally ever since I was a victim 8 years ago. And now I conclude you are on the top of explaining expert reading and how it's written. And it's your strength not to go egotistic, but exact and precise on this evil problem. I spent a year trying to understand this man. I couldn't understand where the fantastic and amazing man I met a year ago went. I spent the whole year figuring out how to get them to love me again. Until 2 days ago, I came upon the reality of who he is. Thank you for all of your videos. Everything I'm hearing is hard to hear, but I'm grateful to finally know that it's not my fault. Thank you for empowering us. I love you. Speak the truth. My spouse has gaslighted me since we met, but I didn't realize it was even a thing. What I want to know is, can it affect a person's memory? Important things I should remember, I don't anymore, especially if it's something we've argued about. Wow. Poor thing. Wow. The disagreeing over every single thing is so true. I actually laughed out loud about the liking the same car analogy inside, but the narc. Disagreeing for the sake of it. I can't believe I was with this person for nearly 4 years. They are such vile individuals. The few friends he has are so weak and pathetic. He has a little fan club. I wonder if you date Beasley. They bring nothing to the table for each other that is positive. They are only friends out of habit. They have known each other for a long time and share the same addictions. That's it. That's their friendship in a nutshell. He even takes care of one of his friends like he is his baby. And the guy, 35 years old, acts helpless and lets him do stuff for him like a child. It is a really bizarre relationship. They are both feeding off each other. The narc takes care of follower fan, and fan worships narc so he can remain a lazy SOB and let the narc do all the thinking for him, as he is totally brain dead. These people are so low, it's unbelievably pathetic. The nice people or victims of this should take heart and see themselves for the wonderful individuals they really are. I think male narcs have a very negative view of women. My mother is a malignant narc, and she also hates women and ingratiates herself with men she admires. And for example, my children's father. She tried to have sex with him when I first met him. I caught her just about to kiss him. You couldn't get a piece of paper between their lips. That's how close they were. If he was willing, she would have had sex with him behind my back 100%. She is still obsessed with him to this day, and I was 22 then. I'm 45 now. She has allowed me to be abused all throughout my childhood and has hated and envied me as a parent throughout my 20s, 30s, and 40s. She's always hated me from birth, probably. The thing is, I turned out such a happy person who is liked by a lot of people. She is very angry that she hasn't destroyed me as a person. What they set out to do, they try to destroy you because they admire and envy and love everything about you that they wish they were. So they try to destroy you. Oh my God, this is my story to the T. I can't believe it. Was there are not many people who understand or can even comprehend narcissistic relationships. Most people don't know anything about it and have never witnessed such a person or thing. And if they have witnessed such a person or thing, they are so confused and need more help than you do. That's the importance of me doing this particular hangout. Just what this person is saying. Most people don't know anything about it and have never witnessed such a person or thing. And hopefully, if you're one of those people that don't know anything about it and you just happen to meet somebody and you just find yourself after a while confused, maybe red flags will go off ahead of the time you become confused, or once you realize you're confused, your mind will translate back to this video and be like, Madam Whip-Ass was trying to warn me about this person, and you kick that little booger to the curb. And call him a booger is a nice term of endearment, if you ask me. I tried to explain what happened to me, to my sister, but I just felt stupid trying to explain it. There's no point in trying to explain it to anyone who hasn't been through it. I just don't think they will believe what you're telling them and probably think you need a straitjacket. This man and his insight is amazing. Silent treatment is his first weapon. That weapon really tortured me to silence over the years. Oh, so you see, that's what Beasley first tried to hit me with, the silent treatment. Now, if I can remind you, the reason why Beasley fell out with me, it all started on my hangout when he was harassing Miss K, who came on my platform to speak to me. She pulls out a gun. You know the story. Video is still up. He gets mad. He goes into a rage. He goes on Slapper's platform. He starts raging about me to Slapper and Tommy. And all of this, I continued my hangout for another 2 hours or so. And then I called him. But let's fast forward to like a week or 2 weeks later. I haven't said nothing to him. He ain't said nothing to me. Chris does a video about something. I comment in Cliff's comment section and about whatever the topic Cliff was talking about, whatever. It had nothing to do with this stinky butt nigga. And he comes in the comment section, you and I, you need to delete all videos that we did together and we'll act like we never knew each other. You know, that's the silent treatment way that you can do online with somebody. And I was like, okay, fine with me. And I deleted every video and went about my business. He never kept his end of the bargain, as you can see. Chasing a high is probably the best description I've heard yet of why the victims keep going back to the narc. He ain't chasing no damn high. I don't even get high. The narc will put all the finest goods in the shop window for you to gaze at and admire. And as soon as you're in, though, they will wheel all the real out the back. Now, that's what they're really an offer, but you already all the way in by then. I tried to make sense of what that person wrote. I read it just how it was written. But there's a comment to that, and it says, like Oz in The Wiz, he's a perfect example of a narcissist. Yep, the Wizard of Oz. Narcissist. Are you a limo driver? You always look so dapper, and those cars' seats look pristine and brand new. Somebody says, sometimes I wonder if he's a narcissist. I guess my key to release and freedom was one day while at the mall walking alone, I stopped, sat down, and thought, why do I care? Really, something came over me, and the idea of why do I care about all this unusually bizarre behavior, the arguments, the makeups, the flirting with other guys. Why do I care? That's what shook me. And I honestly remember thinking once, how come an attractive, smart chick like her doesn't care about my money, but was single with no friends? And because of the illusion she put before your eyes, she got you to love her for her potential and not for who she really was. And that being a fucked up individual, if she showed up the real her, you would have ran from her like the plague. Narcs have to sell you on potential, not reality. Right of my eye opener. I was questioning myself because I felt that I was carrying on a misleading thing. Like I'm saying, I've been through games before with chicks, you know, we all subject to games, the silent treatment, holding out before returning text. But I felt that one was different. But you're right. Keep up the good work, bro. I'm so glad you're teaching about this. I went through this. I still hear his voice in my head anyway. Thank you. Where's your email? Yeah, okay. I've been single now for 2.5 years, still scared to be involved with another man. I don't think there's anyone out there that is really sincere. I was with my ex for 4 years. I have a 4-year-old with him. I have to have him arrested because he tried to choke me to death. I heard he is now in prison for assaulting another woman after me. He was a nightmare. Oh boy, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments. Oh boy, you are gonna love this, Soraya. Oh, I can't wait to introduce you to these videos. You're gonna love it. All right, at this point in time, let me go to the chat and read the chats in a second. Ooh-wee. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. They behave, says Soraya. They're caring, and then they switch. Happens worse and worse each time. I shouldn't be laughing, but this is so sad. It's true. See, if you would act right, this could be us all the time. Wow. My head is spinning right now. He took me back to that time. Yep. Is this a sign? person becomes a victim of your own paranoia, evil and dangerous. Yeah, he got it down 100%. Yes, it can. It can affect your memory for real. If not for text messages I saved, I wouldn't have remembered lots of clues from the beginning. Yes, Donald Trump is a malignant narcissist, and he's the president. Hard to explain. Mine was like that. He would give me the silent treatment, and the irony is they hate to be ignored. And what they are saying. Yes, Soraya, hit me up, and I got to make sure it's you, because um, I don't want the troll. All right. Thank you, everyone. Give me a second. Let me just put the screen share back on for a second. Yes. Oh, darn, what did I do? Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I just pray for continued healing for Sharon Rocha, because I know she's not totally healed. How can you really heal from such devastation like that? I just pray her strength to keep on going as much as she has been going for the past 15 years. Her grandson would be turning 15 like in February, and it's a painful, devastating thing to experience such betrayal. Someone you have loved, you've known for like 7 years, you've accepted him as your son. Forget son-in-law, son. Family dinners, you've gone on vacations and trips together, not a sign. You never even seen a mean streak in him. You've never seen it. And apparently, Laci didn't see it either, because, according to her friends and her mother, of course, Laci was a feisty little lady. And if there was anything wrong, she would have confided in somebody. Definitely her mother. But if not her mother, definitely one of her 3 very close girlfriends, if not all of them. If she had a clue, if she thought something was wrong, if she was unhappy about something, they would have known somebody. And the fact that nobody had a clue, not from Laci, she wasn't the type that would keep, if she was being abused, a secret. If she was like confused by him, even, I'm sure she would have had certain conversations. But one thing she did express to her mom, I think it was at a Christmas party or something, some sort of little event, or whether, I don't know. They was at a gathering, Laci, her mother, and some other people. I think that picture where I show you, she's in red and she's sitting in a chair where she's pregnant. And that was on the same night that her husband was out with Amber at a Christmas party, and Laci had went to some other event. See that picture there? That one. And wherever they were, whether they was over somebody's house or something, Laci was sitting on the couch or something. Her mother came and sat next to her, and she was saying, "Look, he's moving." And she took her mom's hand and put it on her stomach, and her mother, felt kind of moving. And she had, at that moment, she did tell her mother something to the effect that, Scott never wants to feel him move. And that was the only thing that she's ever said to somebody that would give an indication that something wrong. But, you know, it just didn't click with the mom. And, you know, really, why would it? Because this nigga right here, they never seen until after the fact. They only knew, they meaning Laci's family and friends, knew this nigga here. Not the other nigga. They didn't know the other one. Unfortunate. So painful. It is what it is. Anyway, thank you again for tuning in. Y'all go on and have a great day. And, you know, share this video. Thumbs it up, please. If you will, please thumbs it up. Please thumbs it up. Share it. And because people need to be informed. Everybody, males and females. And in the meantime, my next installment, I'm going to focus for the men. And the sociopathic bitch that comes to mind is Jodi Arias. Yeah, that chick. All right. Catch you later. Have a great day. Oh, Lord. Stop sharing. And stop.